Metroid has been somewhat of a Nintendo staple since their original game released way back in the 80s. Blending sci-fi space action with a 2D side-scrolling platformer seemed like a no-brainer back when the likes of Alien and Predator were taking over the big screen. While Samus has been on quite a few adventures since her gaming debut 40 years ago, Nintendo doesn't give her nearly as much attention as the likes of Mario or even Zelda for that matter, despite her being an OG mascot from their very early years. Sure, in the more recent years, we've gotten a new 2D adventure with Metroid Dread and even Samus Returns for the 3DS, but it still feels like this franchise doesn't get the amount of love it deserves. With the next big Metroid game stuck in development hell for nearly a decade, Nintendo finally caved and gave us a fantastic remaster of Samus' first 3D adventure with the Metroid Prime Remaster. It's been a little over a year since we got a remaster of one of the GameCube's best-selling titles, and with the trailer for Prime 4 getting all of us Metroid fans all riled up and ready for another space adventure with our favorite female bounty hunter, I almost forgot to ask, where is Prime 2? Now, I was able to scoop the original remaster a couple of days before the official release date, and I had an absolute blast reliving the glory days of the GameCube on newer hardware with clean and crisp revamped visuals. I had so much fun, in fact, that it was actually one of my first steps in dropping reviews or opinion pieces up over here on YouTube. And while we're still getting the hang of things, it's nice to go back and look at your humble beginnings. But I digress. With the new game slated for release sometime next year, I'm sure I'm not the only one scratching their head wondering where our other remaster ports are. Honestly, when the trailer first rolled on our latest Nintendo Direct, I was screaming in the back of my mind, here it is, here's the Echoes remaster, only to be completely blown away by the return of Sylux and some news on a game that many of us had given up on at this point. While I'll take a new original experience over a remake any day, I think it makes sense to give us as much of a backstory for the new title on modern consoles as soon as possible. But Nintendo has been pretty quiet on any of the other titles coming to the Switch. I know a lot of people think remastering is an easy cash grab, and Nintendo does love to bank on its nostalgia.
Bro, what is this, bro? What is that? Holy hell!
But honestly, the love and care that was put into the remaster and giving us a new way to play legally without owning a 20-year-old game console and a disc was welcome in my book. Plus, I think that it makes sense to get as many fans and newcomers into the lore and story of a game that you've wasted nearly 10 years on due to various creative differences and studio troubles. Now, I'm pretty patient when it comes to things like this. I do want a quality experience after all. But given the time frame of everything mentioned, I would love for people to have plenty of time to go through and experience the first 3 Prime games before getting their hands on this new one without feeling rushed and burnt out by the time they hit the 3rd title. And honestly, Prime 2 was pretty similar to the original, so I don't see what could be taking so long, but I'm no game developer, so I really don't have much to say in that department. But with 0 trailers or really any announcement about the other remasters, I do worry if we're going to get them at all, especially since all the hype has been put towards Metroid 4. While the games will still exist back on the GameCube, and emulation having a pretty dedicated fan base, there's still great ways to go back and experience these games without the need for a complete graphical overhaul. It just makes little to no sense for them only to have one game out of the trilogy readily available to play on their newest piece of hardware. We still have 6 months left in 2024, so maybe there's a handful of people working in a studio somewhere to get this port to us before the end of the year. Maybe we'll see a sneaky shadow drop at our next Nintendo Direct. I love most of Nintendo's games, but their decisions as a company can be downright silly at times. But with the Switch slowly becoming one of the best-selling consoles of all time, I guess there really is a method behind the madness. But what do you guys think? Are you wanting to get your hands on the ports before the new game drops? Or are you just excited for Metroid 4 and don't really care about the past experiences? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.